Hello, and welcome to the Bella Backstage podcast, where we talk about the ins and outs of the entertainment industry. Today, I have the lovely Gemma Asfour.
Hi.
I am so excited to have her here today to talk about everything dance, being a Palestinian in the industry of dance, and all those fun things. And I'm so excited to get into it.
Thumbs up.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. When did you start in entertainment? When did you start in dance? All the things.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot. But I am 17 years old. I started dancing when I was 2. My parents put me in dance, acting, and gymnastics, and I was just dancing through all 3 of my activities. So dancing was the way to go, and it's kind of been the one consistent thing my whole life that I have never stopped loving. And I just don't think I would be where I am today without dance. It really is just so healing to me. It represents me as a person, and so that's kind of what dance is for me. And it just then kind of made sense that it would be my career, because if I can live, breathe, eat, sleep it, why wouldn't I? So I danced at a competition studio in Minnesota where I grew up, and then I left when I was 11 because my mom educated me that there was more things to do with dance than be in a very toxic competition studio space. So she brought me out here to LA, and I just did conventions, and then I ended up getting signed my first time being out here. So that's kind of just, that helped me start up my route of my professional journey. And then when I was 15, after COVID, well, not after COVID, COVID is still a thing, but after like the huge wave of COVID, we moved to LA so I could consistently be here for the auditions, because you get like a 24-hour notice, and that's a lot of money to pay to fly here. So, and now I eat, breathe, sleep, dance.
How fun. I'm so proud of you, honestly. Like, just, I've only known her a couple of years, but the growth
Not
I've
even,
seen,
to be honest,
barely.
Maybe like a year.
A year? No.
I think so.
When did I meet you?
I don't even know when we met, to be honest. Cool.
Anyways,
Awesome sauce.
I'm gonna have to like go through the records and think about this.
Yeah.
But
It's giving Halloween last year. Low-key.
what?
I feel like that's when we started like talking to each other.
Really?
I might be wrong.
I don't know about that. When I was younger, I don't know if you know this about me, I also did competition dance. It was very toxic, so I get you on that end. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. One of the questions I have for you is like, what's your favorite type of dance to do?
So I'm kind of all-rounded for the reason that I do love doing all of it.
For your profession.
And that too, like I can just do what they need me to do. But I think my favorite would be like a contemporary hip hop fusion. That kind of is what I resort to, because hip hop I love, but the aggressiveness of it sometimes I'm just like
definitely
craziness. And then contemporary I love, but like we don't need to be that sad all the time or like that smooth all the time. Like
you like a mix.
Like yeah.
What's some advice you would give to a dancer at home, maybe listening or watching, from coming to where I started out, you know, like going to a studio and doing comp and then taking that to like more professional setting and doing more with it?
So yeah, that's a lot, because the competition setting can be quite detrimental mentally. I heard a lot of things from my teachers about my body and just how I looked in general that put me at a place of feeling like not as good as I was when I started dance. And I think what really made me persevere through all of that was I remembered how much I loved dance and why I started, and that when I tried to go without it, I couldn't. When I got injured with my knee and I was out of fully dancing for a year, like that was hard for me, because yes, I'm a person outside of dance, but it is a main part of who I am. So remembering your passion and that you love it will really help you persevere through that, and help you shoot for bigger things too, because if you really love it, it's going to be hard for you to ignore it.
Yeah.
And getting out of the toxic space is something that I was younger, so I had my mom's help with, but it's still something like it's difficult, and that's not something that I can fully tell you what to do with, because I don't know, like,
you're working through it still.
There's also like a lot of things that you still work through. You're like, oh, that's a pattern that I need to break, that's a pattern I need to break, because so I can't really say, but just remember your passions and why you started, and then I think that will just help you keep going at what you love.
It's really great. I think that's the case with like everything in the arts. Like, you really have to remember like your love, why you're doing this, and like putting your all in even when it's hard, and because at the end of the day it's something that you love, so that's great.
100%.
I've seen that you've done a couple of concept videos recently, and they're amazing. I will leave them linked down below, because wow, like I was blown away. When or how did you start taking up like choreographing and getting into doing those type of things?
So I think for me, a big part when I was little was I liked watching my teachers choreograph the dances. I wasn't only a dancer. And then that's just kind of persisted through my whole life. But I did have trouble in my mind finding the middle ground. And then I was in this one intensive once, and the guy said, okay, you can either be a dancer or a choreographer.
Boo.
Well, actually, I see. I was kind of like, what do you mean?
Yeah, both sides.
What do you mean? But then he was like, well, I'm just going to give you the hypothetical. You can only go one way. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm going to go the choreographer way, because I love being a dancer, but I love creating. Like, I have so many visions in my mind, and I think that's kind of what kickstarted like the concept videos for me, because it was for the first one, for Always Forever. It's
so good. Sorry. I'm like such a big fan, like honestly.
For Always Forever, it took me a year to make that.
Wow.
I came up with the idea while I was getting my wisdom teeth out.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was on laughing gas, and I heard Always Forever playing in my headphones, and I had heard this song so many times before, never thought of anything creatively with it until I was on laughing gas, which
love that. Don't recommend, but
don't recommend.
Love that.
Like, I'm not saying to do stuff to like get ideas, but so then I kind of was like, wow. And then I had that thought again of like, oh, like like I want to create stuff. Like I want to do creative directing for tours. I want to do videos for people. I want to do creative movement for artists. Like, this is what I want to do. And I get these visions in my mind so easily of projects and things. So why don't I just like try to take this one up? Because it was such a clear vision. But there were so many mental battles that I was like, is it going to be good? Is my choreography going to be like good enough? Like, this vision wacky? Like, are people going to understand it? And then by the end of it, and when I got to filming, I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's up to people's interpretation of what it means. Like, it has a meaning to me, and I want people to like sit there and watch it and be like, what the hell just happened? Like, I'm confused. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong in this video? And so I was very, very happy with the outcome, and that has made it easier to make the second one that just came out, and the
phenomenal again.
The third one that I'm working on right now.
Yay! That's so exciting. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
But yeah, I think that's kind of him asking me that question, because I was like, damn, like I would go the choreographer route just because I can do both that way still. Like, I can live out the dancing, but like the creative aspect of it. But I would be a background dancer any day. How too fun. Still, so like
that was my next question. Where do you see yourself taking dance into? Like, do you take it more into more like dancing, like on stage, or in the entertainment route with like background dancing, or in film where they have like all these flash mobs, and would you be part of that, or would you consider it?
Yeah, I think it all depends on like how your career builds. Like some steps you just have to take just because of like that's how it works. like what I want to do is I love working with like the music, so like I'd choreographing background dancers
and like music videos or
music videos, like
everything.
if I work with a consistent artist, like that would be awesome. Like if we shared a vision and we did like music videos together, and like I helped with her tour, because like sometimes choreographers, they do like directing on the tour too, because like if they're gonna have dancers, directing is a big part of that. Where are they gonna go, what is gonna be happening on the screen behind you, where the light's gonna do, like, you know. So if I shared like a vision with an artist, that'd be so cool. That's what I would love to like end up doing.
Are you interested in directing?
I love directing, but I also I think I love it just because when I have a vision, it's really this is like not great for me to say, but it's like it's really hard for me to like let someone else
I'm exactly the same way.
Like, I'm exactly my project, like for my concept videos, if someone had an idea, like of course I will listen to it, and a lot of the times like I wanted people to be comfortable, they came into fruition. But like if they were like, oh, I think we should film it this way, I was like, no, we have to try we have to try the first way first, at least. Like this is how I saw it.
At least you're open to ideas.
Yeah, no, I am. Like my videographer once was like, this is not possible, Gemma. Like I really like
you're like,
and
no.
I was like, okay. And you know what, the shot turned out better than like what I originally thought. But then also there was this one for my second video, I couldn't find, it was in the old LA Zoo, we filmed it, and I was walking around the zoo and I couldn't find this one location that I had walked before I had for the day of filming, and I was so upset. I was like, oh my god, like I need this one like I walked the zoo before I made up the choreography. Like I made up the choreography in the different places of the zoo. So I was so upset. I was like, I can't find it. And I literally found a place identical to it like a mile away. We walked a mile. I was like, we're filming here. We just walked a mile, we're filming here. Got like, yeah. So
yeah, I do
like directing in that way. But I can take direction too, like just when it comes to my like my babies. Yeah, let me clear that up. When it comes to my babies, like I love directing, but I am great at taking direction.
I feel like that's like
I'm workable.
I feel like definitely when you're a creative, it's like you see all of these other people's ideas, and then like when you finally have that one something that your idea, you want to like flesh it out into the best of your ability. So I definitely get that. Like all the projects I do, I'm like,
yeah, no.
Do I ask for help? I should. But
also, like, we're both sitting here, we're both like, we're workable. But also, I don't think like we should have to like say that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's our project. It's our idea. Like, we get to, you know, choose what happens with it.
It's part of the creative process.
You know what I mean? So, I am workable.
Definitely.
But like, we're talking about my projects here. So,
what was the process for the concept videos? Like, was it for lots of friends you're asking around, or did you do like storyboards? I know some choreographers like to literally like draw out or write, or what did you do?
So for the first one I didn't really need a storyboard, to be honest, because the vision was so clear. Like I saw a blue tennis court, I saw my friend Brady, and I saw it being early in the morning. I saw that we were wearing something flowy, and I don't know how this happened, but I saw the whole layout of the piece. Like I saw we were on this side of the net, this side, and then we were on the other net. So like that, it was kind of like I didn't need a storyboard. I didn't need a storyline either, because I saw that all right away. For that one, it was just me and Brady being able to get in the studio consistently. And a lot of that was my mental again. Like I needed some time to get over what was going on, like fears and things going on in my head. So as soon as I started getting it consistently, then it was like, oh, we need to find a videographer. Oh, we need to find where there is a blue tennis court to film it, because I feel like tennis courts are normally green, but now all I see are blue tennis courts since I did the video. Is finding videographer, then having a meeting with the videographer, and then seeing how to make it possible, and then the day for filming. And then like ordering outfits too. Like, so the first one was definitely more unorganized just because it was my first rodeo, and I kind of put some things off because I was so like scared of finishing it. Like Like, because I can
feel-
always do
yeah.
it better. Like, I thought I could just
Mhm.
keep making it better.
That is definitely my like mindset whenever I do anything creative. Like even with this podcast and like finally sitting down to do something. I recently read this book called Big Magic, and actually
yep.
Olivia Rodrigo was
Yep.
like, everyone, you need to read this. And I
I've
read
seen that
it,
book
and
everywhere.
it was like, honestly, so life-changing because I'm in a place in my life like where I'm having these ideas for projects, but you know, still in college and trying to like work and do everything. But like back to what you were saying about the letting go and like when you have these ideas, she talks about when you get an idea and it flows in your head and then you have it, and then if you don't like make time for it, it will go away, and then it'll leave the next person, and then the next person will catch it. And then she talked about an example about how she was writing a book. She met another author who was writing another book, and then 2 years later she came out with like the same storyline of that same book. So it's wild. Like honestly, I feel like every
ideas, like,
every
attached to
creative
people.
needs to read this book because like you were saying about your ideas, like it's just so weird that you had your wisdom tooth removed and then you had this big old idea for a concept video. What is your second concept video about?
Okay, so the second concept video is to Hens Hall by Macklemore, which is a very, very, some would say political, but a very truthful song that I've never seen an artist stick up for Palestinians in this way of releasing a whole song about just facts about Palestine. Macklemore obviously isn't Palestinian. So I had another idea for a concept video, which is the one I'm doing right now. But ever since, you know, I've seen the encampments and I've felt finally understood enough to speak up more, because I guess for my whole life I've felt very isolated in the fact of how people don't see the difference between anti-Semitism and Zionism. So
Yeah.
Zionism is a supremacist political ideology that is just very, very hateful towards Palestinians, and anti-Semitism is being hateful towards religion, which is horrible. Judaism reserves respect, just like any other religion does, and it's not about religion though. It's about this political ideology, and so nobody's ever understood that difference. And I had a lot of people tell me to not overly speak about being Palestinian, to make people comfortable, to not make conversations difficult. Or the amount of times that I've gotten DMs, and in middle school, like, so many people would call me a terrorist just because I'm Arab. And not all Arabs are Muslim, and not all Muslims are Arab, but like that's a whole nother story. But it's just this stereotype that I felt like I could never break out of, because it's so forced, it's so built into our society. And so being, especially in the industry, like making a video like that is something I never thought I'd be able to do. So once I finally started to feel like I could speak out, I decided to put this other concept video on hold when Hens Hall came out, because I was in such a limbo of guilt. I felt really guilty for being a Palestinian child in America that just got lucky to be born in America. The whole side of my dad's family is in Palestine, and so I was like, I'm just lucky that I got to be here. Like, there's no difference between me and them, and it's like they don't get a chance to live out their dreams just because of their location, and I get to because I'm in America. Like, that's horrible and that's horrific. And I had this I still do have a lot of guilt about it, but I kind of was like, well, dance is my form of this is another form of
Therapy,
speaking out, and therapy to me. I am an activist, but words are hard sometimes, and that's why I resort to dance a lot. And so then when I heard Hens Hall, I was like, okay, even though it would be more hip-hop driven, which I normally don't resort to choreographing that, I was like, I need to do something. Like, people might deem it as too political. It's not about some statements in there about politics, but it's not about being political. It's about the hatefulness that Palestinians have endured for
years,
way too long. And I got together a group of dancers that I have seen publicly post about Palestine, and it was a very healing space for me, because we all sat there and I realized that a lot of people were experiencing that same guilt that I was feeling of, like, how do I live day to day knowing that there is a genocide going on, and I just get to I just get to go to work and I get to go to dance. Like, that doesn't feel right. And that was quite shocking to me that, like, people thought that deeply about it, and that I've never experienced that before. Like, I've never experienced, like, a conversation of, like, sitting and talking about it. And so then creating the video, there's just this mutual understanding of, like, we need to do something, like, we need to make a change. And I've never felt so powerful. Like, there was, like, a group of 5 other dancers in there, like, dancing with me about 4 Palestinian. Like, that is, like, it might not seem mind-boggling to, like, somebody on the outside. It's crazy to me. And then it has almost 20,000 views now in less than a week. It's been a week, actually. And that, like, to me it's not about the views, it's about the support. Like, I didn't think that many people would come to the video and be like, yes, like, 100%. I didn't know that, like, I didn't know all these dancers now that followed me, and I followed them back, and we both, like, we talk about like, we have conversations. Like, I sound scrambled, but it's just, like, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, I've never been able to have these conversations before, and I'm happy that video opened it up, but I'm also sad that there had to be a song.
It took something.
There had to be a very public genocide. There's been a very slow burning genocide of Palestinians for a very long time. Yeah. Over 76 years. But I'm sad that there had to be a very public genocide for these conversations to happen and for some of the stereotypes to be broken down. But at the same time, I am very grateful that I can finally speak about who I am, and I can finally speak about history and facts and not be shut down right away. And if I am, then, like, I want to associate myself with you.
Yeah. I feel like, first of all, watching the video, I had chills immediately. Just knowing Gemma, like, I'm just getting teared up right now. I literally was crying because I was so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I feel like, ooh. Please hold.
Tissues. Let's just keep the tissues here. I might need some.
Okay.
We have a special guest.
Mr. Tissue, welcome to the podcast. Why are we doing this? Why are we having people harmed, people's lives taken? And, you know, over here, like you said, we have people here that are just living their everyday life, and they're not doing anything about it, and they're just happy to not think about it. And that's mind-boggling. It's first of all, not being educated. I think everyone needs to get educated about it. I definitely did. I've read so many books, and I need to reread them because it's so much history. It's so much going on to get into. And
for me, I kind of was like, I wanted to write this whole thing the other day, but I was just too tired to, like, write it and then post it. But there was another journalist that was killed just for reporting what is going on in Gaza, and they just found him without a head in his car, and that's normal for Palestinians now in Gaza to just, like, oh, you go home and your child's dead. Like, every time you leave home, it's like you come home with flour, or you come home and your family is dead, your home is gone, or you don't come back, like, because you went to go get aid. Like, that's the reality for Palestinians. And there is nothing in Gaza and Rafah and the illegally occupied territories that there is no reason for any defense on this level to cut off water, to cut off electricity,
so inhumane,
to cut off aid. It's it's terrorism on another level. And we're just ignoring what's going on, and like, you have privilege if you're able to do that. If the world would be fighting back if this was happening against white people, and that's the bottom line. And if you are able to watch all of these things or ignore them, I think something needs to happen with you. You need to get help or something, because that's like so inhumane to be able to look at any of these facts and think, oh, I'm not gonna either pay attention to it or not be affected by it. Like, and I'm not saying this because I'm Palestinian. I'm saying this as a human. Like, it's humanity. It's basic humanity. Yeah. And it sounds deep and it sounds upsetting, and it is, but it also is what our reality has come to, what our country has let happen, and what our world has let happen, because we have fed into propaganda for so long and refused to acknowledge what's actually going on in the world.
What do you think that people should do to like help in any way? Obviously there's donations, but besides like education, you said like social media, what should they be posting? What should people be talking about to help out even more than what there's already on there?
Yeah, so for me, I get like the posting thing is hard for people, and I get that, but I'm also like, we are over 300 days into a genocide, and like, your time for being scared about it is kind of over. Like, it's been way too long. But I also think you should educate yourself before you just start posting things. Definitely. So education can come from so many things. You have access to TV channels in Palestine. You can watch actual news in Palestine, or what's left or what's happening. There are so many Palestinian journalists who are undercover covering what is going on, or have been covering what's going on for years. It's not just about what has been happening in the last year. It's about the past 76 plus years. I think educating yourself from people there is the most important, or books that are just history, that are no opinion, just history, will really be like that. That's good. That in itself is good education in general, history, and it's good in general. And then when you want to speak out, then, or when you should speak out, then when you post, you either fact check, or if you're reposting something, make sure you go look at that person's other stuff. Make sure you read through the full article, etc., etc. You know where I'm going with this. With donations, be careful, because there has been a lot of people who pose aid for Palestinians that have just been actually doing the complete opposite for Palestinians. But also be careful where you donate, because there are a lot of big companies or nonprofits that have been giving aid to Palestinians, but they have now been blocked from giving aid to Palestinians, and they're raising money to try to keep getting aid to Palestinians, but since they're bigger nonprofits, they keep getting blocked to come in and out of Gaza. So make sure you're donating to places that are still able to give that aid to Palestinians. And not only like this I'm Palestinian, so I'm talking about Palestinians, but this goes on a much deeper level. Like, there is a genocide going on in Congo, in Sudan. Hawaii still needs our help from all the fires, the wildfires, and I just privileged. Like, so each month I interview a different activist. I switch topics every 3 months. I feel like talking to 3 different activists about the same issue gives you a lot of perspective on the social issue, and different ways you can solve it from different perspectives. Taken like a little way. I haven't done an interview in a few months, because June I did a little bit of a different thing. Like, I interviewed my cast of the concept video instead. And then July I helped with a fundraiser for Palestine that my beautiful friend Cheyenne Amber put together. And then in September, we also are doing 4 fundraisers in September. So Society Inspired is like a big part of that right now. And it's kind of hard for me to do the interviews and the fundraisers because it is a one-girl show. It's a one-woman show. I'm the only person running Society Inspired. So that's why there's no interviews going on right now. But I do post a lot of resources on there. I do post a lot of links of good sources to educate yourself with on there, so about all different topics. That's
so just getting out there, education, and being a good human.
I think it can be my motto for the campaign. It starts with a conversation, and it does start with education, and I know it can be quite intimidating to start speaking out about something or to start learning about something because you don't know. That's the point of education, but it can be intimidating.
Everyone has their opinions, but at the end of the day,
and it can be a very intimidating space to enter, and so that's why what I wanted Society Inspired to be was a very safe space to learn about issues and etc. So I mean, I think education is hard if you're intimidated, but that's why you go to places like Society Inspired. Early on, I realized I was different, not just in like that I have brown eyes and like brown hair sort of way, but I mean, very early on I was educated that people might not, exactly understand you because when you say you're Palestinian, they'll go quiet. And like, I learned that from the outside world. Like in school on 9/11, like my parents would have to sit home that morning and be like, this is what you say when kids call you a terrorist on 9/11, or this is
not fair,
or this is like when the teachers talk about 9/11 and about Muslims being terrorists, this is what you like, and I'm like, it's just, this was what I was saying again earlier with stereotypes. Like, I cannot count on my fingers the amount of Palestinians I have seen represented on like TV and stuff growing up. I didn't see anybody like me, let alone Christian Palestinian. Like, people have asked me so many times, when did you convert to Christianity? Like, no, I've been Christian my whole life. There are Christian Arabs and Muslim Arabs, and there's just so many, or in all the superhero movies, all the terrorists speak Arabic, and you just assume that Arabs are terrorists because 9/11 kind of was like, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many stereotypes that need to be broken, and I just grew up then kind of walking around being like, people have this automatic thought of me of being dangerous, or I remember in my Catholic school, one of my English teachers, after reading I Am Malala, asked me if I wore a hijab as I'm sitting as a Christian in a Catholic school. And I was like, no, I don't. And it just, so I think I just kind of shut up a lot in America because things are taught to us. And that's how it is. So there's just a lot of stereotypes that are assumed of you, and I think I just kind of shut up because this is what people know, and if you argue with it, like, it's going to become a whole thing. And I didn't want to make people uncomfortable. I didn't want to make things difficult. And so I mean, that's kind of what it is growing up like in America for anybody of ethnicity. I just think there was a lot more awareness recently for a lot of different communities. And again, I'm really sad that there had to be a very public genocide for people to finally be aware.
What is your schedule like for, well, you said you're going into more like choreography route. How is that with like your dance and like doing both of those at the same time? What's your schedule like?
Well, choreography is kind of more on my own free time because I'm newer into that. Like, people still kind of know me as a dancer, but I love helping and assisting choreography with teachers. So whenever they need me, I kind of just drop and go. But so I just think a lot of my schedule is unpredictable. I do have like scheduled training to like, get it in and keep learning and moving, but like, jobs or rehearsals, like those can be last minute, and things are very unpredictable because dancers are very last minute. It drives me crazy, but let's just say I typically only have like Thursday or Sunday off. And I have like, so this whole summer I've been rehearsing for a show. We've been rehearsing for this show called 4 by Loom Collective. It's on August 17th and 18th. And the rehearsals have been every Monday and Wednesday. And it's like we start at like 9 sometimes, and then I end at like 9. So like,
wow.
It changes every week though. So like it's unpredictable. It's like, do they need me to do this piece or another piece? If they need me to do another piece, then I'm going to be at a different time, or like then I'm in another company as well. And I'm busy every Friday and Saturday, and then I just have like other, not hobbies, other professions like acting. So I go to acting class, and I drum as well. So I do drumming, and then I have Society Inspired. So I run that too. And I'm in school, like I start college soon. So it's like, you know, it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. When was the first time you started thinking about getting into acting, and how does that transition into or correlate to your choreography and your dancing?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, I did theater when I was younger, and I thought, I'm like, I should start acting after I moved here, because I was like, that helps me be really well-rounded. A lot of dancers act. But as I got into acting, I think I kind of got more in tune with my emotions, just because you have to be in tune with you don't have to be, but to be like a really, really good actress, like you see emotion, like you see so much emotion, and it might not necessarily be like what the character is going through in that show or in that movie, but it's something they connect with in their personal life. And I think getting in tune with my emotion and relating those things in acting helped me portray that emotion even more in dance.
Would you like to tell everyone where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram with the @ G.
It's right there.
Yeah, GEMMA.ASFOUR. And like literally you can use that to find me anywhere.
You can find Society Inspired. You can find
you can find like Society Inspired under that. I have a photography account as well, so you can like find that there.
Thank you so much for watching or listening to the Ballet Backstage podcast. Follow us down below on all socials, and make sure to go follow Gemma. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.